CoCo, you've had a lot of frustration at this tournament over the years, but here you are, in a semi. What changed? What's different?
Well, I'm a pretty positive person, so I don't really look too much at the negatives in my life, and I try to move forward as best I can. And I've always done that. I've always been more of the glass half full, so I don't really take too much in previous bad experiences. I take more in the positives and learning curve that you can learn from losses, you can learn from wins.
And you said you dreamed about the stage since when you were 16 and you won it here. Can you just elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes, I think most every junior player that plays tennis dreams of holding the big Grand Slam trophies at the end of a tournament, and I think the dream still holds as far as, I'm still searching for that trophy at the end of the week.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Just watching you at match point and the collapse on the court, I mean, the emotions are obviously extremely powerful. Just talk about what this, and knocking off the top seed along the way, the number one in the world. Just talk about the match and what it means to you to get to the semifinals here.
Well, I think it's a lot of validated work. I think it's what really was going through my mind in that moment was I'm a big believer that my grandparents are still with me, so it was more just looking up and feeling the love of everything that was going on, and really happy with how I was able to close out the match in the fashion that I did, and in front of the crowd today.
As a follow-up, just certainly 3 and potentially 4 American women in there, and Venus being one of them. What does that mean to you as an American playing here at the U.S. Open?
Well, like I said on court, Venus last night said it very well that the younger ones were looking at Lindsay, Jennifer, and Serena and Venus, and I think that still holds of, we wanted to be those same players in a later generation, or be those, now that we're older, we can actually put that into words, but we all wanted to be there. And for myself, I mean, it's really nice to have an all-American semi on one side, because for sure there's going to be an American in the final, but I think it would be even more exciting for you guys to write about if there's 2 all-American semis.
After the match, you went over and talked to Pat Cash. What has he been able to bring out or help you over the last couple of months? And how big of a difference has that, working with Cash helped?
I think the biggest thing is channeling my intensity and tenacity out onto the court and putting it into a singular focus. I think that's probably one of the biggest things he's implemented into my regimen.
And can you just tell us how the 2 of you got together? I'm sorry if I missed how the 2 of you got together in June.
Yeah, no, I don't mind repeating. It was during the French Open. My coach at the time, Craig, he decided to end our relationship, and I still had doubles and mixed to play, so I was a little bit in shambles about that. So once I was done with the tournament, I went home to California for some much-needed TLC. And I had a call from my agent, like, hey, you kind of need a coach. Like, you can't just go rogue out here. And which I was more on the rogue side of things than I was on let's have a coach and get this together. So they gave me 3 names, and Pat was one of them. And so I said, if he's interested, let me know. I'll call him, or vice versa. And so talked on the phone when I was in California. Talked again when I was at the airport going to head back to Europe. And then he met me in Holland, and the rest is what it is.
CoCo, you've played Madison a couple of times this year, tough matches on hard courts. If Madison is your next opponent, what do you think the outcome would depend on?
I think it depends on me mostly, because similar to today and the other day against Lucy, Madison's a player that can take control of the points and of the rallies. And I think if I allow her to do that, then she's going to be on the winning side of the coin, similar to Pliskova today and Lucy the other day. So I think it's definitely going to depend on me and making sure she's not capable of doing that. But I think the same goes for Kanepi as well. I think Kanepi's also a big player. She's former top 20. I've played her a couple times and been blown off the court when I was younger because, she plays that big.
And what's your personal relationship like with Madison?
Oh, it's good. We've had a few Fed Cups together. We've had times off the court together. So we have a good relationship. I just saw her actually go into the locker room, and I was giving Bethany a piggyback ride. So she was giving me some crap about, well, mostly Bethany, giving Bethany crap.
So the juniors are going on now, and you've mentioned a bunch of times winning the juniors here. What advice would you give the juniors playing this week?
Well, if it continues to rain, they go indoors. It'll be similar like my junior win. I went into the semis indoors, and that was lightning fast there. And I actually beat Kiki Maldanovic, and so it's nice. It's a whirlwind, but enjoy the moments out there. I mean, it's a great feeling to hold the trophy at the end of the week, and be proud of what you throw out there on the court. If you give everything you have, then there's no reason not to be proud. Win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter. You tried as hard as you could, and that's all you can ask for from yourself.
As a follow-up, do you like being looked at as a mentor to the ones coming up behind you?
Sure. I'm an older sibling, so I don't mind the mentorship. I think it's nice to have people that aspire to be like you or have similarities that you do, and hopefully I can conduct myself in a fashion that the parents might be happy to be, have their kid looking up to me.
CoCo, you've had the leadership role in the Fed Cup ties this year and everything. I'm wondering if that position has offered you any kind of confidence since it's gone so well and everything as you've progressed this season.
Well, that's a very important role that I've wanted for a long time. I worked hard to be in that position. I sacrificed a lot of my schedule to be available for Fed Cup and to be the leader of that team along with Bethany. And my tennis has backed it up where, I'm the leader of that team, but, you have to win and prove that, hey guys, this is what I did today. This is what I'm giving out there on the court. Let's have you follow that. And, I take that role very seriously in that, week and a half that we're all together. So I think it's just, Fed Cup has brought a lot of positives to my tennis this year. I played it when I was on a high in Hawaii, where I was coming off of Australia semifinals and playing well and carried the team through in a really tough match against Pekovic. And then in Florida, where I was going in there playing terribly. I hadn't won a match, and I get the call that it's going to be on clay, and I'm like, Kathy, you completely screwed me here because clay's my worst surface, but whatever, I'll go out there and give it my best shot. And I went out there and won 2 very important singles matches and teamed up with Bethany to clinch the tie into the finals.
And I know you've mostly been in California, but you spent some of your formative years here in the New York area. So does this tournament, besides just being the U.S. Open, at all have a home feel for you?
It was the first tennis tournament I ever went to was the U.S. Open. And I remember watching James Blake on Ash. That was the match that I watched. And it was so fun and exciting to watch James play. And I knew nothing about tennis. I wasn't even playing tennis yet. So as far as who James Blake was, I had no idea. I was just more like summertime, you're a kid and you go to the U.S. Open. And so there I was watching James, and it was really nice and fun and exciting and a great time.
You still lived here, though?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
CoCo, you said that Pat helped you channel your intensity. Could you go into that a bit more? How does that work? How have you gotten, seem to be a lot more calm on court?
You'll have to ask him how he's been able to do that. I don't really know. Maybe it's like some Jedi mind trick. I don't know how he's doing it.
Also, you did some mental training with others. Could you talk about that? Did that help you in addition to the work with Pat and the Fed Cup? Did that help you as well?
I wasn't doing it during the Fed Cup matches. I just started it after Wimbledon when I was really disappointed on how I went out and played in my quarterfinal. I was very overwhelmed by the moment, and I wasn't able to get myself together in order to play correctly. But all credit to Magdalena. She took the match from me and played very well and played a very great grass court season. So, you have to be a player that comes out and wins, and that day I was not.
CoCo, over the years, I feel like you've been a sort of player who's not afraid of engaging the crowd. But do you feel like this season, and maybe this tournament in particular, you've gotten better at feeding off of their energy? They've been so behind you over your matches.
I think that starts from Australia. The Australian crowd was one of the first crowds that really kind of enjoyed my tennis and enjoyed my personality. I had a really great experience at Wimbledon playing Sharapova, where I was the underdog, and the Wimbledon crowd really wanted the underdog to push that match a little bit further than straight sets, and maybe even have the underdog win. But Australia, they really enjoyed my fight out there on the court, like Aussies do. They love to see passion and fight and fire, and I definitely bring that out onto the tennis court. So when I started to play some Fed Cup matches, the crowd got behind me there also. And then the more you get used to it, the better I think you can at channeling what you want the crowd to do for you, whether it's to pump you up, to calm you down, to kind of make you think that, okay, I've been on the other side of this coin. My opponent's definitely feeling the noise, the pressure, the moment of this match. So I think definitely the New York crowd has stepped up in that fashion for me and really given a big positive push to my tennis this week.
Feeling that appreciation, do you feel like in years past or in matches in the past, maybe you felt misunderstood by a crowd, or is it just kind of getting used to getting that validation?
I think it's everyone has their favorite and everyone has their least favorite player, and whatever I am to any person out there doesn't really affect me personally. I mean, I have my favorites in every sport and in general. I even have my favorite tennis players, and so it's comes with sports. I think there's going to be lots of players misunderstood. There's going to be players that are thought of one way, but really they're another way. And I think it just is sports. You grow and you learn and you adjust to the moments.
We'll go here and then into the back.
Saved your best game so far for the Peppers one so far. You were very focused today. Would you say consistency was your biggest asset today?
Yes and no. I think there was moments where I was really tough in the big points, and I think my best asset today was making her continually play on her service games, whether it was not a great return that just got over the net. I know as a big server, it's really annoying when your serve keeps coming back, and I know that's what my main focus was just to get it back, not have her have a free point too easily. And so I think that was a big pressure moment for her with me hustling down a serve or hustling down her next ball to make her hit a volley if possible or hit another ground stroke. So I think that was more of the pivotal moment today than consistency.
Who made those favorite tennis players be?
Well, growing up, my two favorites were Lindsay and Jennifer. Those were my two favorites. And then when I got more into tennis, Lindsay was still playing, and I loved Kim Clijsters. Those were my favorites.
All the way in the back.
From a writer's perspective, there are these compelling backstories with the ladies that are left at this stage, from plantar fasciitis to being out for surgery and attacks. And what do you think it says about you all as women competing at this level at one of the most difficult slams to arrive here with all of those stories?
Unfortunately, I don't have any compelling comeback stories. So I think I'm out of that narrative a little bit. I'm sorry I can't help there.
CoCo, when you're on the sideline, changeover, eyes closed, are you visualizing? Are you focused on your breathing? Or what are you doing there?
Well, all the above. I mean, I think it's routines. I go to routines when when things are sticky, when things are going well, and I think that just settles me emotionally, and that's what's most important about my tennis is being settled.
Last two, 1-2.
A racket sort of bit the dust in the first set, and then the second set you were broken after getting a break. But do you think you're doing a very good job of just dismissing frustration and getting right back into the point, the job at hand?
Sure. I think it shows in the results of how well I'm adjusting to different moments out there on the court, whether it's my opponent's good play, my bad play. I mean, it's tennis. It's not going to be smooth sailing the whole time. That's why we have no clock at the end. You have to win the last point to be game, set, and match at the end, and hopefully have your name called along with it.
Last question.
Great divide in the tennis world for the last decade or so. Are you a Federer person or a Nadal person?
This is going to give me crap, but I'm a Federer person.
Why?
I think it was more, I liked how he played. He was more of an aggressive player. And while Nadal in the early stages of his career was more of a grinder, he grinded opponents down, similar to kind of like Agassi and Sampras. I like Sampras more than I liked Agassi, even though Agassi threw in haymakers and he was an unbelievable player, but my game was modeled off of Sampras, well, at least my serve. So I think I've spent more time watching Sampras than I did Agassi, so I'll probably get some crap for that one.
Thank you, everyone.